Hi, Jason Wells here, one of the authors of Anti-Student Entrepreneur, for those of you who don't know me. And I wanted to talk about something that just, kind of hit me as I was out on the internet browsing, reading news reports. And it's kind of something that it's just bugged me for a while. And it's lotteries and jackpots. And like right now in the news, there's this big Mega Millions thing. You see these every once in a while, but it's like at record heights. I don't know much about this stuff because, again, I'm not a big fan of these things, but I really feel like lotteries and jackpots are ruining our American culture. And, if you're not an American citizen and you're listening to this, just bear with me. This is just me talking as an American about my own culture and what's changed over the years. But even if you're not an American, I think it's something that you can glean from. There's some things you can pick up from what I'm about to discuss. Now, Americans have always prided themselves on being a hardworking people and people who go after what we call the American dream. And a lot of that's been immigrant driven over the years. We were a we were a country that allowed a lot of people to immigrate in. I know my family came from Europe, and therefore we've always been a very hardworking community, hardworking society, and one built on that hope of doing something for ourselves and our future family. And that's something that's always represented what we've been about. But I think we've been getting away from that. And I understand politically there's a lot of things that have hurt that belief in our country, the belief that you can achieve great things. And I'm not going to get into all that, but any American can tell you that we all pretty much feel, regardless of how you are politically, we're all tired of the constant BS that goes on in the government, among other things. And, our political system really is frustrated most Americans. So that definitely contributes to a lot of the behavior that goes on with people and the way they approach the American dream. And I understand that I'm pinpointing one thing, and by no means do I think that lotteries and jackpots are the only thing that are ruining our American culture, but it's indicative of the types of things become important to us, which in the broader spectrum represent, I think, what's wrong with our country. And it's definitely part of the problem. So I think I heard something on TV that winning these things is highly unlikely, but this is the interesting thing they said. It's so unlikely that it would be more likely that you'd get hit by an asteroid than win one of these things. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't walk out of my house worrying about being hit by an asteroid. Like, it's that unlikely. It's not like somebody going through a hurricane or an earthquake, which is pretty likely depending on where you live. If you're in Florida or California, it's that's something you go out every once in a while and you think about when you live in those places. But being hit by an asteroid is not something that I really think about. Why? Because it's really unlikely that's going to happen. So I don't know if that's true or not, or whether that was just an analogy they were using on TV. I'm sure the people that listen to this, they're scientists, can correct that. But let's just say that it's close and it's an analogy. I'm sorry. I don't know why people waste their money on that when you look at it that way. And the common thing I always hear is, well, somebody's got to win. Yeah, I don't. But somebody also can be lucky enough to become rich some other way. It's probably more likely to become Bill Gates than it is to be hit by an asteroid. Again, I might be wrong. Somebody that knows about probability could probably correct me on that. But I'm trying to make a point here. I hope you see the point I'm trying to make. I think the American dream has become less and less about hard work and focus and more about chance and getting lucky. I think people think more and more these days that the people that are successful are the ones that just are luckier or have a better chance. Now, I do agree, even in my own success, there's probably been a little bit of luck. But as any successful person can tell you, the harder you work, the more lucky you are. And there's just something about that. So, again, I realize that what's wrong with my country is more than just lotteries or jackpots, but this gambling thing, it leads to bigger things like Nevada gambling, and I'm based in Nevada, Indian casinos and other places where Americans waste their money on things that are really not leading anywhere other than entertainment, I guess, is the only reason why people gamble, because most people aren't gambling to make money. But it's funny, people that desire to do something in their life, they'll often say to me, I would, but I just don't have the money to do it. And not all, I understand not everyone is in this, but a lot of those people don't have the money because they waste it on things like this. And, if you look at lotteries, jackpots, whether it's the mocha at Starbucks, and believe me, I'm a big caffeine fan, just like the other guy, but, 30 cents for a cup of coffee at home compared to $2.50 at Starbucks, like, that stuff adds up. And I'm digressing here, but as far as the money issue, that's something to think about. And I'm not trying to offend you. I'm not trying to put you in a box. There's a lot of successful people that buy lottery tickets and jackpots. In fact, my dad, I think, still does to this day on certain jackpots. And he's a successful lawyer. So, it's not like I'm judging people. I'm just making a point and trying to put something out there for people to think about. For me, I just don't understand it. I don't understand why people gamble money in Vegas. Yet they won't gamble their money learning something like investing or trading. And what do I mean? Well, I have people say all the time, I can't invest or trade because I'm afraid to lose. Yet those same people will go to Vegas and gamble their money there. My argument is, why not gamble your money on the stock market and take that defined budget that you've set for yourself that you're going to spend in Vegas to lose? In other words, it's money that you've just saying, hey, it's gone. I'm not going to ever see it again. Why don't do the same thing on something and you can learn? You can get that same gambling high, if that's what you're trying to get, or that entertainment from learning how to trade. At least you're learning something while you're losing the money. That's just an example. I mean, I'm by no means advocating you go out blindly and start blowing your money on the stock market to learn, but I'm just making a point that if you're going to gamble your money away, there's other ways you can do it and actually get something from the experience. So let's say you spend $5 a week on lotteries and jackpots. I know there's people out there that do it. Every week. Sometimes people spend more, but let's say $5. Well, that's over $250 a year. What if you spent on something, what I call useful, like books, classes, or other things to educate yourself and improve your life and financial picture? What if you just spent it on an hour of like a marriage counselor? And that's a weird thing to bring up, but what if you spend an hour a year with your spouse, with a marriage counselor, just to work out your differences in your relationship, or get an opinion or a different perspective on your situation? How much would that improve and enrich your life? Again, not everyone needs to go to marriage counselors. I'm not advocating that. I'm just giving you examples of things you could spend your money on that you would feel a benefit from on a daily basis. And obviously relationships are important to people, and sometimes getting a different perspective on things can help. Just giving an example. And that's a really abstract thing that people don't think about. Bottom line, I think the American dream is driven by attitude. And my mom often says that the World War II generation is the last of the great Americans. And I don't know if I really agree with that. She's an older baby boomer, and her dad fought in the war. And, those people that came back, they were a pretty amazing group when you look back at history and the things that they did. And and they came back and integrated into society. And many people argue America's greatest time was that time following that period. And whether it is or isn't anymore, I know it isn't completely the blame for us as a society, but I think we're part of the problem. And I do believe, though, that Generation X, which is me, Gen Ys, which is guys like Chris Lopez, who's the other author of the book, and the younger baby boomers that are out there, I think we have a lot to offer still. But I think we need to stand up. I think we need to take responsibility for ourselves. And as small as we seem, recognizing things like lotteries and jackpots, we need to recognize them as a waste of time, money, and hope. Now, you may go, Jason, oh, you're blowing this way out of proportion. I do these things because they're fun for me. Okay, I understand that. Maybe for you, this is your couple of mochas at Starbucks that's important for somebody else in 1 week. I get it. This is your outlet. This is your fun. If that's all it is, fine. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of people in this country that do this every single week. And I don't want to say they believe they're going to win, but it's the thing that gives them hope. And I'm just saying that is what's wrong with this country. What should be giving us hope is what we do personally and what we believe we can accomplish to be successful. And that's all I'm trying to say here. That's why I think it's ruining our American culture. It's not for those people out there that are doing it just for fun, legitimately. It's the people out there that these are the things they have hope in. And again, part of it is them and part of it's what's going on with our government and other things. I'm just saying we need to do our part as people and step up to the plate. And that's what our book's all about. Living life on your terms, escaping the suit and tie was important to Chris and I. We didn't want to wear a suit for the rest of our lives. And learning the new rules of the economy. People need to learn those new rules because until you do, I think the American dream is just going to continue to dwindle. People need to understand that things are changing, and more than ever are we going to be responsible for ourselves. America, our government, our employers, all that, they're not going to take care of us anymore.